want to get your reaction to this announcement today, especially what it means for water and people's health as that relates to water.
That's right. So Travis, so good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Waterloop and the work that you do. Today is a major announcement. I joined Administrator Regan and Secretary Beiser and Manager Shimada Brown in Maysville several weeks ago. And there I was able to join and give comments around the billions, the $2 billion, right, that's been released nationally. And today's a follow-up to that. You have the PFAS roadmap, but today is about limiting the amount of PFAS that can be legally, right, emitted. When we talk about 4 parts per trillion, all those, kind of abstract numbers and names, it really is about, lowering it to a point where it's not detectable, right? And we want 0. But very happy with 4. At this point, it's one step forward. It's not, we can't stop here. But this is the most historic and the largest stride that any U.S. EPA has made in the 40 years that PFAS, PFOA, and PFAS has been in consumer goods and products in our waterways. And my great uncle retired from DuPont.
Oh, wow.
So as a native North Carolinian, as a woman from community whose uncle, it's a part of our community.
Sure.
And so we trusted the corporation, and not so much trust the corporation, we trusted the promise of jobs, the promise of economic prosperity, but we didn't realize we would be trading in our health and our, lives.
I guess a real key now is getting funding to these communities so they can put in treatment to meet these levels, right? That's like a big piece in my mind.
That's right. And there's different tiers of government, right? And I say this as an active, policy analyst. I was a community activist on PFAS for the past 5 years. I was the first North Carolinian to launch a town hall on PFAS outside of NCDEQ and worked with Secretary, when he was Secretary Regan, at the level of DEQ. So when we talk about funding, we've been working through ARPA, through IRA, through EJA. We're having to literally tackle this pollution in multiple consumer goods. And for communities who are food insecure, North Carolina is 80% food insecure. So when we talk about food insecurity and fast food, that's PFAS contamination. But are we talking about it in Health and Food Administration and the funding that we're receiving through Health and Food Administration to the state of North Carolina? So this is one part, in having an actual federal leader that comes from the South, that comes from North Carolina, that comes from Goldsboro, right? Massively contaminated by another issue, which was coal ash. We absolutely need funding, but it also comes down to a government approach that there isn't a clearinghouse for community to say, well, do I call this local elected leader? Do I call this local department and get this amount of money that just came from ARPA funds? So we're having to, as activists, we're actually having to host all kind of workshops to even teach people how to apply for money.
Put that puzzle
and
together.
We've been doing that for 2 years. We've been preparing, and we have to keep going because the money is being dispersed until 2026. But if we are not on the ground being supported as activists, as educators, as folks who live and breathe North Carolina, then the money's not going to get to our people because government doesn't know where we are. It starts at the top, but it also is contingent on the people's power. And the reason PFAS is a national movement is because of the people's power. It's because we were protesting. It's because we did a tour here several years ago that it actually reached the White House. It actually reached from North Carolina. We started here. We brought the White House here.
I love it. Well, thank you for all the work you do, and there's more to come.
Thank you, Travis. Good to see you.